Um, for about, I don't know, God, the umpteenth time, I'm gonna have to start a stream with that same Nancy Pelosi quote. I won't bother saying good morning because it certainly is not one. Uh, yeah. And I gotta say, I've been sitting here. I know I'm starting a couple minutes early, but um, I'm reading through the comments, going through, and you, you all seem a little chipper for the start of World War III. Um, but I guess that's good, right? I mean, to be honest, I'm not in a bad mood today. I'm horrified of what's happening in the world, but in general, me personally, like physically, I feel good. I'm alert. I'm not dragged down like I was on Friday, which is shocking considering all of the horrible things happening for the planet right now. Um, got a lot of Thomas DC Canada says better to laugh than cry. That is true, and we do as much as possible try to keep it lighthearted. Today, obviously not going to be a super lighthearted event. We do have a lot I want to cover. Most of it, of course, on Iran, but we also have some, you know, crazy, fun, good things that happened against the administration recently. So we can, uh, talk about that. We will get going for real here in just a couple minute, I guess. But I do want to quick super chat here from V-Man says FDR sent all four of his sons to fight in World War II in all active combat zones. So when is Trump going to ship out Barron or those bone spurs genetic? It's funny because even before I saw an article. I didn't get on Twitter, but I saw an article yesterday that Send Barron was trending. And even before I had seen that, one of the things I wanted to talk about today was we need to get draft Barron trending. He's of age, seems to be of good health, a little tall, maybe won't fit in the tank, but still, I don't think a president, you know what? I will get into it in the story, but yes, V-Man, you're right. You're right. Absolutely right. If you're not willing to send your own kids to go die for your dementia war, then don't send somebody else's kids. That's my take on it. But yeah, draft Barron and make sure, for the love of God, you don't misspell that, because there's only two, little. Well, I can't do it. But anyway, two of these away from it being Farron. So please make sure you spell Barron correctly. The F and the B a little close on the keyboard. So don't mess that up. I don't want to see like draft Farron is trending. No, God, no. I don't think there's that many Farrons out there either. So yeah, that's not going to be enough of a platoon. Please. No, Loki 6626. Anyway, I'm glad we're laughing, obviously. You got to keep it a little whatever. All right. Let's get going here. On Friday evening, as the United States was preparing to launch this attack against Iran, Donald Trump was busy partying at Mar-a-Lago. Not just partying either. He was partying with Place of Hope. Place of Hope, a nonprofit, faith-based organization down in Palm Beach, decided to rent out Mar-a-Lago and have a little black tie gala, for their religious group. And Trump came out, talked to people, took some pictures. He's on video dancing to God Bless the USA, which Typically not a danceable song, so kudos to him for finding a way to dance to God Bless the U.S. Really, it's not a good rhythm. And then he left and killed 85 children at a girls' school in Iran. Now, this administration all weekend, including some of their surrogates out in the media, told us, no, we're destroying their military targets. We're destroying their nuclear facilities. You killed 85 children that we know of at a school moments after you were dancing in your black tie because he doesn't care. He doesn't know what we're hitting. We don't have competence in the United States military anymore, or at least not enough of it, because they came in. One of the first things they did was fire the generals, fire the smart people, the competent people, because those were all DEI hires, right? That's what they told us. So we had to get rid of these people who might know what the hell they're doing. So now we've got drunken Pete Hegseth calling the shots, Marco Rubio sitting there not knowing where Iran is on a map, and Donald Trump, who just got done partying, or took a pause from partying, I guess, to go kill a bunch of children. That's what the United States government did this weekend. And much like their attack on Venezuela happened in the late evening through the morning on Saturday and Friday. So, news cycle doesn't get the kind of attention it would, right? I mean, we don't typically have the A-list newscasters going live on Saturdays. This administration is so dumb that they think they're being secretive. They think like, if we do it on a Friday night, we're just going to forget about it because the weekend, people are out. It was a nice weekend in a lot of the country. So they're not going to pay attention. That's why they do it on Friday nights, by the way, folks. That's where news goes to die. And apparently, Iran is where Americans are going to now go to die. In fact, Donald Trump told us as much. He said, the lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. We're doing this for the future, and it's a noble mission. So I'm sure if you spent any time on social media this past weekend, if you follow me on Instagram, I reposted one. That is almost exactly what Lord Farquaad said in Shrek. Some of you may die, but that is a risk I'm willing to take. Implying like, I don't give a crap if you die, I'll be safe no matter what. And Trump basically goes out and says the exact same thing to the world, like, you guys may die. Well, best of luck with that. I'm going to be in Mar-a-Lago. There's another party tomorrow night. It's going to be even better than the religious party. So I want to know what the place of hope, that religious faith-based organization, has to say about the fact that they just partied with a man who killed 85 children. Haven't seen any statements from them on that, but I'm sure they're crafting up a good one. This is terrifying. And it's being run by a guy out of a blanket fort in Mar-a-Lago. A couple of super chats came through here. I see somebody keep saying they won't send troops. They've said that a couple times in the chat. If they're not going to send troops, help me wrap my brain around this. How do we already have American soldiers who've died? Are they not troops? Now, I don't know if you're a troll or somebody who agrees with me, disagrees with me, whatever, but I think that is insanely disrespectful to the lives of those service members who have already been killed in Iran. To say, we won't send troops. Troops have already died there, right? It hadn't even been 48 hours and American troops have already died. So I'd back off on that comment if I were you. Not smart. Andra Brandon says, just sent in Blue Sky. Draft Baron. I love it. Thank you. Juan Peralta says, Defense Department designed for response, not preemption. And yet all they want to do is preemption. V-Man says, by the way, Bibi bolted Israel for Greece before the fighting began. Guess he wants ammunition and a ride. Good meme material here. Jesus. Lauren Tamara says, every teaching from the art of war is being ignored with a few exceptions. The ones that aren't overplayed to ineffectiveness shake my head. Yeah, it's absolutely. Send all ICE agents to the front line, says Jamie Moray. There you go. Y'all want to earn that $50,000 bonus? There you go. You're part of Trump's army now. Delight Loves Movies says the Epstein War. Yeah, and obviously a lot of people out there saying this is clearly a distraction from the Epstein files, which sure it is, but it's mostly a distraction from the crap economy that we're living in here in the United States right now. Let's not forget that. Okay, I know the Epstein files, the last couple weeks, obviously been huge in the news, which is great. We need it to be, but the media only has so much oxygen. And we can't not talk about how bad the economy is under Trump, all the jobs that have been lost, the fact that inflation hit 2.4% in January. Manufacturing jobs are disappearing from the United States. The economy is also a huge, huge issue that just nobody wants to talk about anymore. And that drives me crazy. Zinthowin says, if Congress approval is needed to start a war, then isn't there supposed to be procedures that the militia can say, I need Congress approval? Or would the firing of generals be the equivalent of a liquor store that sells to minors? I'm not quite sure how to answer that, unfortunately. But yes, congressional approval does need to happen. Obviously, you have both Republican and Democratic members of Congress saying that this is totally illegal. They're supposed to be voting on a War Powers Act today, which may be happening right now. That remains to be seen, though. I've been obviously following the news all morning, and I have not seen that they have voted on this War Powers resolution yet. Juan Peralta says, moral to leave Cuba in current state or intervene. I unfortunately, another question. I don't know how to answer that. I really do. I'm not in Cuba, so I couldn't say. I really could not intelligently say. Class Action says the USA needs to stop. Stop effing about and jail Trump, his administration, ICE scum, the military that followed illegal orders, and remove all Israel influence from the USA government. I agree 100%. Let's move on to another story now that you're bringing up Israel. Real quick, Paula Trigg says, it sickens me to see how all the major news media outlets act as if all this is normal. I normally don't watch them, but over the weekend got stuck watching a few. And see, that's the thing. That's the reason the media does that. Nothing sells advertising like a good war. They love it. Now, they may personally be anti-war, but professionally, these networks love this crap. And they can't get enough of it because they do know people who ordinarily do not tune into network news will be tuning in for this. One more super chat, and then I'm going to hold the rest till later. CK Progressive says, I feel like I'm back in 2003, except the target country is 4 times bigger and the president is not only dumb, but also demented with no one to restrain him. That obviously the parallels insane between the two events, but also at least the Bush administration had a plan. Now, the plan was evil, don't get me wrong, and it was deceitful, and they lied to us about what the plan was, but at least they had one. Right? I mean, that counts for something. Yeah, we're going over there to steal all their oil, but we're going to tell you it's because of weapons of mass destruction. With Iran, it's just Israel and Saudi Arabia told us to, so we did. And that brings me to the next story. According to a report that came out from the Washington Post on Sunday after they spoke to 4 sources connected to the administration, The reason the United States got involved in this conflict that we started is because Israel and Saudi Arabia, Netanyahu and bin Salman told us to. Donald Trump has turned the United States government into the little kid at the lunch table who's so desperate for attention that when somebody dares him to eat the gum off the bottom of the table, he'll do it. That is what Donald Trump is. You have two countries run by two of the biggest human rights abusers on the planet, Benjamin Netanyahu and Mohammed bin Salman, and they're telling us, you gotta bomb them. You gotta kill them. Hey, don't forget those girls in that school over there. I know you don't like women, so there you go. And we did it. And Israel had the audacity, the government. When I say Israel, please understand, I am referring to the government of the country, not the Israeli people. I'm not referring to a citizenry. I'm not referring to a religion. I am referring to the government of that country. Same thing with Saudi Arabia. The people that just live there, they are not the guilty parties here. It is the governments of those countries. So, bin Salman and Netanyahu, together, unlikely allies, come to Donald Trump and say, please go over here and do our dirty work for us. We have fighter jets. We have militaries. Hell, we have nukes. But we don't want to do this. You need to do it. Because if we do it, people might get like super mad. So if you do it, you're kind of the world police. The people will be okay with it. We're going to go and continue our other bombing campaigns in other countries. We're a little tied up with that too. But you go attack Iran because, it worked out so well for you in Iraq and Afghanistan. And Netanyahu's government got on social media and announced, of course, that we were launching a preemptive strike against Iran because we have nukes. The people that were goading into doing the attack, they have nukes. The other country that's allied with us, they have nukes. But we're really, really concerned about these people maybe one day in the future also having the same kind of weapons that we have. So we've asked, big dumb USA to come in like this hulking idiot, like, okay, I'll do it. And we did it. And now we're stuck. And we have no idea what's going on. There are no intelligent people in this administration. We've purged the competent people from the military. And we are in, once again, another quagmire that we could be in for a couple of decades. Scorpius EA says the Bulwark's Tim Miller said something similar. U.S. is bending over backwards, taking Qatari, Saudi, essentially orders and money, and bending over backwards for them. And yeah, the only thing we get out of this is feeding the military industrial complex. So if you work at Boeing or Lockheed Martin, your job is safe, right? You don't have to be worried about being one of those, million plus people that got laid off. You're still going to have a job. And I hope you think about that every night when you go home and go to bed. When you're sitting around the kitchen table or the dinner table with your kids, and they're like, how was work today, Daddy? Oh, it was great. I made a new missile and it's going to be sent over to the Middle East. Maybe it'll be the one that bombs the next school. I don't know, kids. Let's wait and see. I hope you realize, honest to God, just by working at those companies, you're a merchant of death. And if you're a religious person, well, you better have your answers ready for when you get to the pearly gates, because I'm pretty sure St. Peter's going to want some explanations as to why you supplied the materials to kill a bunch of kids. So get your answers ready, because you never know when that last day may be. Zentoin says, thank you for answering what you can. It's just logically when a military action is done, obviously it's more just one person saying, do this. At this point, though, I don't know. I mean, yeah, there are people along the chain of command, but if it came from Trump himself, he's the ultimate guy. So I mean, there's a lot of them. Heads up, I don't know if it's your mods or YouTube that doesn't seem to like certain phrases or words. Couldn't send until I said military action instead of attack. That's definitely got to be a YouTube thing. And just so everybody is aware, because this is just kind of a weird thing to keep in mind for the future, YouTube, anytime there is big tragedy, what, like in this particular instance, it's Iran, but anytime there is one of those events that happens far too often in the United States, at a school, at a mall, at a grocery store, at a concert, YouTube will automatically like censor out any mention of the city, state, venue, the person's name, who does the mass pew-pews. So YouTube always does stay on top of those things because they don't, I guess, want people to know the truth. I don't know. But so, yeah, they're probably going to be going through doing a lot of censoring and removal next couple days. The Beloved Son says, greetings from Jerusalem. Just a heads up that I agree with you. This whole thing came from Bibi coaxing Trump into adding extra firepower from his fear mongering. Been getting hit here ever since. God, that is horrifying. I mean, that is truly a situation I can't even imagine. Most of us sitting in the United States right now can't even imagine what everyone over there is going through. And even without this, like just the constant fear of the United States coming over there and just randomly deciding, because Trump wakes up in a bad mood, like, I'm just going to bomb him today. Why not? It is horrifying. And God, stay safe. Let's continue on here, because MAGA is not happy that Donald Trump, get this, broke his campaign promise to not start any more new wars. You think you know a guy. I mean, who'd have thunk that Donald Trump would lie to people to get ahead? Huh. Mind blown, right? Well, if you're MAGA, yeah, their minds have been blown. They're not happy, thankfully, that we attacked Iran over the weekend and that we're getting into another quagmire. They weren't happy about Venezuela, but they forgot about that like overnight, basically, which I think a lot of people have. Like, we still got a quagmire in Venezuela that nobody wants to talk about ever. But now we've got a second one. And this time, MAGA is more angry and they're more vocal. Tucker Carlson got on ABC News for some reason and said it's absolutely disgusting and evil. Marjorie Taylor Greene said now America is going to be force-fed and gaslighted all the noble reasons the American peace president and pro-peace administration had to go to war once again this year after being in power for only a year. Andrew Tate got on social media in all caps and said nobody wants this war. MAGA Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna said, hold our country in prayer right now. Hold our service members and their families in prayer right now. Hold the innocent people of Iran in prayer right now. The alt-right personality Milo Yiannopoulos said, oh, how disgusting. Fuck you, Mr. President. There's more. Cassandra McDonald with the Gateway Pundit said, this is so wicked and disgusting and vile. He is sacrificing our best for a foreign nation. What comes after blackpilled because I'm that? Nick Fuentes said, no war with Iran. Israel is dragging us to war. It's a sad day when you find yourself agreeing with Andrew Tate and Nick Fuentes. I mean, agreeing ever with just one of them one time is horrible. But finding yourself in a position where you agree with both of them on the same day, it's a little weird. It's a little topsy-turvy. I'm not sure what the hell is going on, but most importantly, you guys are all idiots. Every person whose quote I just read to you guys are the dumbest people in the world. Oh, we can't believe Trump lied to us again. Again. Like, that's the key word, again. He's lied to you about everything. I mean, honest to God, you could go through every single campaign promise this guy ever made in the first, second, or third campaign. He did the opposite. I'm going to build you a big, beautiful wall. You built a couple miles of a piece of trash that's already rotting and rusted and falling apart. I'm going to round up only the worst of the worst. You're getting actual American citizens and sticking them in alligator Alcatraz. Inflation will be gone day one. Prices will be under control day one. Prices have done nothing but gone up since you took office. No new wars. If you vote for Kamala, you're going to have wars all the time. You have started multiple different international conflicts. Whether you want to classify them as war or not, that remains to be seen. Technically, without an official act of Congress, it's not by definition a war, but it is. He's lied about every single thing. So I guess I'm kind of glad that MAGA's slightly waking up right now. But you guys are finally coming to the realizations that all of us came to when he descended down that golden escalator, telling nothing but lies. We told you then. So here's what I want all of these right-wing MAGA influencers or lawmakers to do right now. Admit we were all right. Because we are. I mean, you're effectively admitting that on social media right now. We told you. We warned you. You called us freaks and snowflakes and babies and whiny libtards. You called us every name you could possibly think of. You told us we were fear-mongering. You called us liars. So I will be sitting here waiting for a personal apology from each and every single one of you. And until that happens, y'all, much like Trump, can just go fuck yourselves. And I know, obviously, it's not going to happen. The beloved son says, I'm American and I hear from locals all the time wondering what's wrong with him. At least it's working to finally show that the problem on both sides is not with the country, but with the politicians. I think just in general, everybody needs to understand that. When we talk about these countries and, okay, this country is evil, this country is bad, this country is doing horrible things, everybody has to understand that we're referring to the government. When people go after these, it's not against citizens, it's not against religions, because God knows if you say Israel's doing bad things, they're like, well, you're anti-Semitic, obviously. No, like Russia. Russia does horrible things. And by that, I mean the government, Putin. It's not the people. It's not the folks just going to work every day in Russia and supporting a family. They're not evil people. Israelis are not evil people. Saudi Arabians are not evil people. Their governments, however, are. And I obviously have to make that clarification and hope everybody truly understands it, because those are things that a lot of folks are going to be saying in the days, months, possibly even years to come. That may be so, Zintoan says. MAGA officials would only need Trump's word, but unless it changed, I heard only Marines could act directly from the president. We're getting out of my expertise, so I'm gonna, if that's what you say, I'll take it. ICE has spent $144 million on weapons and ammunition. Why? Yeah, we had a segment about that the other day. Actually, maybe it hasn't gone up yet because we did have to shuffle some things around. But yeah, that's the $144 million question. Why? We don't know. But they're getting military grade weaponry for these brown shirt thugs wandering our streets. And tens of millions of dollars of that alone is bullets. Tens of millions of dollars for bullets. Not for the guns themselves, bullets. If you need tens of millions of dollars in just bullets, then that's a pretty good indication that you are planning on shooting a hell of a lot of people. That's the scariest part of that story for me, is the amount that they've spent on bullets. Just, God, yeah, horrifying. And again, we don't know why. We do not know why. I mean, somebody's buying $10 million worth of bullets. You know why they want bullets. Bullets serve one purpose. So there's that. One more story on Iran. Then we're going to move on. I'm sorry, I can't quite read the name, but anyway, member for a month, thank you very much, says the U.S., Israeli, etc. governments have kept each country's populace propagandized, afraid, and desperate to keep us from making good decisions. That's what they do best, other than bombing innocent countries, obviously, but keeping the population misdirected and angry at the wrong thing is what governments do best. Again, moving on to the last story on Iran, and then I will be moving on to some other topics here, but I want to get through this one because the administration is telling us, the Israeli administration, the U.S. administration, Saudi Arabia's government or royal family are telling us that we had to attack Iran, we have to invade them, and we have to continue spending U.S. lives because Iran might get a nuclear weapon soon. Like they were right on the doorstep of having this nuclear weapon. So we had to prevent them from getting the same weapons that we love to stockpile. And this past weekend, an unlikely voice came out in the media telling us, that's not true. Now, we know it's not true. You know it's not true. But Ted Cruz came out during an interview on CBS with Margaret Brennan on Sunday and effectively admitted that, these people are full of it. Iran was nowhere close to having a nuclear weapon. Now, Ted Cruz is an individual that gets intelligence briefings. He knows what is there. He knows what is not there. So when even he comes out on live television and says, Iran was not close to having a nuclear weapon, then the jig is up. You can't even get your own party to go out there and willingly lie for you anymore. But here's what Ted Cruz says. We launched targeted bombs at the end of the 12-day war where we dropped the equivalent of about a third of a nuclear weapon on those underground facilities. Facilities like Fordo built into the base of a mountain. The bunker buster bombs we used, Israel doesn't have those bombs. No other country has those bombs. We took them out last year. Look, the quantity of nuclear material, I didn't say anything one way or the other on that. What I said is they were building nuclear weapons a year ago and our bombing took that out. They also had an ongoing desire to rebuild them. I have no indication that they were anywhere close to getting nuclear weapons. Now, there is one thing that I have to correct about Ted Cruz. He's like, we got those because we've got bombs nobody else has. Okay, well, that's the problem. We have them. Other countries know we'll fucking use them. So they want to protect themselves and build weapons. Either we get rid of all our bombs or we let everybody else have them. We can't be the biggest hypocrites on planet Earth, but we are. But anyway, the thing I have to correct is like, we took them all out, all their facilities. First of all, no. They were given like 3 days advance notice that this was going to happen, and they moved what little bit they had, but the little bit they had was nowhere near being close to being able to being formed into a nuclear weapon. Like, as far as I remember, like they didn't even have like enriched uranium yet. So, yeah. But you're right about them not being close to having a nuclear weapon. But furthermore, let's think about this logically for just a few minutes here. Like I said, so many countries have nukes. Only one country has ever dropped them. That's us. And we dropped 2. And that was in the 40s. So here we are 80 years later, 80 plus years later at this point. Even with all these other countries having them, nobody's used them. Why? Well, because they know if they do, you're going to have 8 other countries dropping nukes on you. You want to have them as a bit of a deterrent. Sure, I understand that. I disagree with it, but I understand it. So, if Iran got nukes, who are they going to nuke? Who are they going to nuke without guaranteeing their own complete and total destruction within a matter of minutes? Right? Like if Israel goes and nukes somebody, because they've got lots of them, they're going to get nuked back. At this point, if we were to go out and nuke somebody, we're going to get nuked back. So what's the problem? What's the real actual threat of them having a nuke? Because even if they did, sure, the devastation would be horrific. Absolutely. No contest on that. But they would effectively be wiped off the map in a way that nobody would be able to live there for, generations to come because of all the nuclear fallout. So why do we get to tell people they can't have these things as their own form of deterrent when we're the only people that have actually gone out there and dropped them? So little food for thought there. Lindsey Graham, he's salivating at the thought. And he came out, snapped at a reporter this weekend who said, "What's Trump's plan?" And he's like, he doesn't have to have a plan. He just got to do things. M. Miller says, Iran threatened to give proxies nukes. These people worship death and believe in eradicating their own people if necessary. And that's exactly what would happen. And Iran threatening to do something that they don't have the capacity to yet do is not justification for military action. It simply is not. Zinthowin says people unable to separate a single bad group for the entirety of a country or majority seems to be common dumb logic. But we know they pick rules they like and wouldn't want to be grouped with the left. Ha! I like that. Foghorn, referring to my Lindsey Graham impression, which was not that great, I will say. But Elon Trog says a big ass lie about Iran. A psychiatrist said Trump was paid to do this. Jared's $2 billion, the free plane from Qatar, etc. Definitely, things that all factor into this. Absolutely. Any news on the crazy convicted MAGA Florida woman on the run? I have not. No, I haven't seen any updates on that. Again, if you're in Florida, lock your doors a little bit tighter because we don't know where the crazy Florida woman is, who is supposed to be in jail, but they let her have a couple months off before she went to jail, even though she pleaded guilty, which is that's mind blowing to me that we even do that. Like, hey, you're a very dangerous person. You want to kill a bunch of Democrats. You've said you want to kill a bunch of Democrats. You're not even denying it. You're agreeing. Yeah, you do. So how about you just come to prison in like 4 months from now? Hey, you get on out of here, but you better come back. And then she didn't come back. For those of you who missed the story, that's what that story is. Oh, in your defense, Farron, your impression of Lindsey is much better than his impression of a rational man. Well, thank you. doesn't even have to be rational. I don't think Lindsey Graham would be able to do an impression of a man. That might be a low blow, but he's a warmonger who delights in the murder of other people, so I don't care. I'll go low too. Timothy Vince says, do not post all caps. If everybody could just remember, like, don't post all caps. The mods do not like it. It is distracting, so let's not. Let's move on to other topics. There are, believe it or not, there are other things to talk about. Thank you, Toby Dick, for that came out real weird saying that for the super chat there. Last week, a federal judge, in fact, U.S. District Judge Kathleen Collier-Cotelli. Or Colleen, yeah. Wow, that's a rough start. I think I screwed the name up, and then I thought I didn't, but I did. You know what? We're just going to pretend the last 30 seconds didn't happen, folks. And I am going to try to start this story again. It's one thing when I'm doing the other videos each day and I mess up and I'm just like, we'll just cut that off and just start again. When I'm doing it live, a little weirder, little more embarrassing. But hey, Andra Brandon says, did you ever tell us how your candy turned out? Bad. I did it. I add the recipe. Look, is it candy? Yeah. Does it have the flavor? Sure. Is it what I wanted it to be? And is it so sharp that you can't eat it without getting cuts all over your mouth? No. And honestly, for the amount of effort it was compared to the payoff, even if it had gone perfectly, it's like, yeah, that's not a thing I want to do again. But yeah, I mean, I've got the bag of it in there and the candy is so sharp, it's like ripped through the Ziploc bag already. It's painful. The first few were good, but if you have more than like two, you're just like, man, this is not my thing. Last week, U.S. District Judge Colleen Collier-Cotelli ruled that the Trump administration, specifically ICE and the IRS, had broken the law 42,695 times. 42,695 times. These two agencies together broke the law. And the IRS did that with ICE by sharing confidential taxpayer information with ICE. Now, here's the thing. Is the IRS allowed to share taxpayer information with other government agencies and organizations? Absolutely. Because there's always a caveat, if the agency has a very specific, detailed request and reason for needing a specific individual's tax information. If, as Collier-Cotelli pointed out, they do not have those things, you are legally not allowed to give that agency or organization that taxpayer information. However, the IRS under Trump did give that information to ICE 42,695 times, at least that we know of, that we can verify. ICE went to the IRS 42,695 times and said, hey, give us information, address, whatever, about this person here. And without asking any questions, apparently, the IRS was like, sure thing, buddy, here you go. Do you want me to print it? You want to write it down? You want me to text it to you? How do you want the info? That's illegal. The problem is that it's not gonna stop. If there is one thing we have learned about this Trump administration, it's that a court order telling them you're breaking the law means absolutely nothing to them. And the individuals working at the IRS, working at ICE, who engaged in these 42,695 illegal acts, not a single one of them will ever face justice. It's criminal. The judge says this is illegal. So, where are the handcuffs? Where are the indictments? Where are the, perp walks? Where all of these folks at the IRS who broke the law get marched out, hauled into the paddy wagon, and taken down to county, right? Not happening. Nor will it ever happen. And that's what drives me crazy about all of these things, because you can't just, as a judge, well, actually you can as a judge because you don't have the authority to bring charges, but these judges come out and they repeatedly tell us one way or another, any given department, depending on who's in court that day, you broke the law. Now stop doing it. Can you imagine? Suppose you do something horrible, right? Just absolutely the worst thing you can think of. And you get caught. So you're in court and the jury comes back, or the judge if it's a bench trial, and they're like, yeah, this guy broke the law. What happens to you at that point? You can either be sentenced on the spot, or the judge will set a date and you'll come back and be sentenced. At no point, if one of us broke the law, is the judge or jury going to be like, yeah, you broke the law. Stop it. Get. No, that doesn't happen. But for some reason, when it's the federal government told by a court, hey, you're breaking the law, they just get to have the option to not do it anymore. Or in the case of this administration, they keep doing it and nothing happens ever. People who break the law are supposed to go to jail. End of story. Like, that's it. You're supposed to be punished. Not told, don't do that no more. And if you do it more, I'm just going to tell you again to not do it anymore. Maybe I'll threaten to sanction you, but I'll never actually sanction you, so don't worry about that. Go on. Have a good day. There is no justice system in the United States. If you have the right job, if you have the right income, if you have the right connections, justice does not exist. Justice is whatever you want it to be. But if you're poor, if you're not white, if you speak a different language, oh, there's a justice system for you, all right. But it's not one that any other country should envy. Skeets here says, did not the Congress pass a law saying any member could call a no confidence vote for the speaker? He is responsible for all this violence. Yeah, they do. And that is a great point to bring up. Like, why are they not doing that? You've got enough Republicans who hate Mike Johnson that you could probably make it happen. All it takes is a simple majority because of the rule change they implemented. That would be hilarious, and I would love to see it. Andre Brandon also says, Farron, sorry to bring up a painful memory. Was just curious about your candy making. Look, it was fun. I'm glad I tried it. It just didn't. I got to tell you, the people who do the professional candy making, and I see a lot of their reels, because I, still always going to love food. And I love watching them make candy, and they make it look easy. It is not easy. Holy hell, it's not easy. Melting sugar, and I swear, man, you get the melted sugar on you, like you're done. You kiss that bit of skin goodbye forever. My full utmost respect for the people who make candy. It really, honestly, it is so much harder than you would think. So next time you get like not the store-bought, mass-produced candy where there's not actually humans involved in it, if you buy real candy from like a local candy maker, it really, have some appreciation for it, and understand why it may cost a little more, because like blowing hot glass. I buy, there's an event locally here every October where they sell like the hundreds and hundreds. It's a huge thing of the hand blown pumpkins, like glass pumpkins. It is insane what they can do. And I also see a lot of videos on glass blowing, which is just so cool. I wish I could do that. I would lose limbs just from the getting glass on me, because whatever. Let's move on. A couple more stories to talk about. One good, one definitely not good. You know what? I'll do the not good one first, because this goes with what we were just talking about with ICE. According to a recent report, officials at ICE were warned all the way back in March of last year that their agents, their officers running the streets of the United States, were being far more violent than ever before, and that violence would escalate to the point where people would start being killed in the streets of the United States of America. That is what top officials at the agency knew last March, according to Freedom of Information Act requests from the group American Oversight, revealed that top officials were well informed of the violence under their purview months before federal officers shot and killed Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy. On March 20th, email notified Caleb Vitello, the former acting director of ICE, that the agency had recorded 67 use of force incidents within the first 2 months of Trump's term. That was nearly 4 times higher than the year before, when the agency reported just 17 incidents. Vitello received a similar notice days earlier, flagging near identical rates for the first 2 weeks of March, which noted that use of force had quadrupled during that time span compared to 2024. So ICE knew. They knew that these officers they sent out again to patrol the streets of the United States were pretending like they were in war zones. They were acting like Rambo out there, smashing windows, tasering people from their cars into their cars. That is one of the things, by the way. And ICE, of course, as we all know, took action by doing absolutely nothing. These deaths, not just Preddy and Good, because, I think 10 at this point, other people have been murdered by ICE, or killed, I guess would be the appropriate word. But all of these deaths could have and should have been prevented. The officials at that agency knew what the agents were doing. All they had to do was pull these people back. And I don't mean pull them off the streets, which I would have preferred, but pull them back mentally. Have these little field offices sit everybody down and say, listen, you do this again, you're fired. And not only are you fired, you're going to be prosecuted. And not only are you going to be prosecuted, you're also going to be sued in civil court and lose everything. If you continue the violence, you're going to potentially lose your own life. Something as simple as that to these simple-minded ICE agents may have gotten through to some of the more violent ones. Maybe not. But all we know is that the administration didn't even try. They knew the violence was happening. They knew it was escalating. They knew it was worse from the year before, and they did nothing about it. They didn't want to stop it because they liked it. It's what they wanted. It's what the administration wanted. We have seen reports as recently as, within the last 2 months of this administration saying we need more, quote, made for TV moments with these arrests. And hey, nothing plays better on TV than violence. Well, there is the one thing, but I don't think we want ICE agents going around doing that either. Nobody wants to see those big, fat, ugly people doing that. But violence works. Violence shows people don't mess with us. So not only did they like it, I won't be shocked to find out probably after this administration leaves that it was encouraged. We'll eventually see those memos, or we'll have whistleblowers from inside the agency finally have enough courage to come out and tell us, yeah, they told us to do these things. They wanted more of it. Mark my word, that day is coming. A few super chats. Gargoyle Dragon says, worked kettle corn stand at the local theme park, and you did not want one of the kernels to pop up and land on you. Hot oil and melting sugar burns. It really does. And I've seen videos of people getting injured by those as well. Paula Trick says, I crochet, do cross stitch and ceramics, but would love to learn stained glass and soap making, maybe after the grandkids in my house are bigger. There's so many crafts I would love to be able to make pottery. I have no artistic talent at all. And before anybody's like, well, you just need to work on it. No, like my drawings, or even like if I have like modeling clay and I'm like messing around with it, you would think a kindergartner made it. It's that bad. And I have tried for years and years and years, and it's actually getting worse. So anyone with any kind of artistic talent, I have just the utmost level of respect for y'all, because it truly is amazing what some people can create. Like, I can't create anything. I can create like words and ideas, sure, but that's boring. I want to create something that's like really cool or looks nice, and that is something I will probably never be able to do for my entire life. So, just a personal defect I have to live with forever. No talent to even flip pancakes in the air. Now, I'm a damn good cook. And I do have a lot of talent in the kitchen. The candy making, obviously, that is a whole different ball game. But I mean, like, I can do the baking. I can do the sauteing, grilling, dicing, all that stuff. I'm really good at cooking and baking. But beyond that, man, I wish I could. I wish I could draw. I wish I could. Again, pottery is always, because I keep thinking in my head too, like, I want to get a pottery wheel. And that would be a disaster. In fact, it'd be fun to put that on video if I ever did get one and attempted. I actually, during pandemic, I'll just say this. I got like a Dremel set because I was like, I'll start doing wood carving. That can't be that hard. You have a little tool and you draw your... Man, was I so wrong about that. God, wood carving is absolutely a phenomenal art form too. In fact, we actually at the local market this past Saturday, I bought some items from this local wood carver because they were just amazing. And again, when you try something and realize how difficult it is, the amount of respect and appreciation you have for it, I think, just goes through the roof. So while I've failed at all of these things I have tried, not all of the things I've ever tried, but you know what I mean? Like, these things that I do like and I've tried and failed has given me a deeper appreciation for them. V-Man says, I can bake bread and Puerto Rican sweetbread rolls. I've never had Puerto Rican sweetbread rolls. Sitting here for so long gets a little rough, but I do want to finish this last story here. And I see we're already losing viewers because we're coming up on 10 o'clock. My coffee's getting cold. Andrew Brandon says, no Kings protest Saturday, March 28th. Please check for a rally near you. They're having one here in McAllen, where I live. Everybody mark that March 28th. This one's going to be probably the most important one we have had. Keep that in mind. I don't know why I just said keep that. That wasn't the full thought. I mean, if you want to keep it, sure, keep it. But March 28th, no Kings protests. And for the record, Andrew Brandon, if you will remind us, throughout, you don't have to send it in a super chat. I'm not saying, bankrupt yourself reminding us. If I'll tell you what, I will give you permission, and the mods, let her slide. If she'll remind us every day in the regular chat, put it in all caps, and that all caps will not be deleted. If we could please do that for me, so everybody remembers that is coming up. Farron is sundowning. I might be. I don't know. It's genetic. I've got it in the family, obviously. So someday, yeah. And that is something that, I do think about, not frequently, but time to time it does pop into my head. Like, I need to, I don't know. It's scary. Last one. And this is the positive one. Okay. We'll end on a positive note in a day full of horrible, crappy news. Democrats across the country, from the halls of Congress to the governor's mansions in various states, are demanding that the Trump administration issue a $1,700 tariff rebate to every American. And of course, this is due to the fact that the United States Supreme Court struck down the tariffs that Donald Trump had put in place. We have already seen corporations file lawsuits against the administration to get their money back, which technically isn't really theirs because it's ours, because yes, they initially paid it, but then they made us pay them for what they paid. And that is the money that these Democrats are trying to get back for the American public. Elizabeth Warren in the Senate, along with other Senate Democrats in the House, Kathy Hochul, governor of New York, J.B. Pritzker, governor of Illinois, Gavin Newsom, governor of California, all of them have joined forces together as one united voice to demand a $1,700 payment to every single American. And the reason they came to that particular number is because that is what the Yale Budget Lab said the average American paid in increased costs last year due to the tariffs. So it's a good solid number. It's a little less than Donald Trump's $2,000 tariff rebate check, but hey. And by the way, Congress is, of course, working on legislation to put this into law, which would be phenomenal. Now, here's the thing. Trump, of course, has said, I'm going to find another way to do the tariffs. I can do these. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, sure. He's going to do that, right? That doesn't change the fact that the tariffs that we've already paid have been illegal. So that money, even if he puts new tariffs on, the money that was already paid was illegally paid. Or illegally taken, I should say. It is owed back. And that's the part of the story I think a lot of people don't quite grasp. Like when Trump immediately said, I'm just going to do tariffs this way, I'll do them that way, I'll do them sideways, I'll do them front ways, who cares? Those would be new and separate. But the ones that have already been paid must be returned. One way or another, that is going to happen. The businesses filed lawsuits. Sure, good for them. Again, they're not going to give it back to us, but Congress wants us to get our money back. So if they can pass legislation, if they can make this into an actual refund for the American public to give us back the cash we earned, not only would it be appreciated, sure, but let's not forget, this is also an election year. So I hope the Democrats are not just doing this to try to buy some votes. I hope they're doing it because they understand $1,700 For millions of people in this country, a check of $1,700 is life-changing. That is how far people have fallen with this crashing economy. I remember, as I'm sure a lot of people do, during the Bush years, and they decided to send out the stimulus checks. Oh, we're going to stimulate the economy by giving every taxpayer $300. Don't you spend that all in one place, right? $300. $600 for married couples, right? And that was supposed to stimulate the economy. But here we are, 18 years later, where if everybody got a $300 check, they'd be like, cool, I can run and get some groceries and then I'm done. That's how bad inflation has been since those initial stimulus checks were sent out to everybody 18 years ago. That is shocking to think about. But hopefully the Democrats prevail. We spent that money. We didn't have a choice in it. We got screwed because of Trump's illegal action. We are entitled to our money back. And the Democrats, thankfully, are fighting to get us that money back. Gargoyle Dragon says, my MAGA adjacent uncle in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, saw a small I ran a race protest this weekend and admitted if he hadn't seen it himself, he would have called it fake. At least he's learning. That is remarkable. I love that. 18 years ago, we are old. A child's lifetime has passed. Yeah, it really, it really is remarkable that those $300 checks were 18 years ago. But 18 years ago, $300 per person, per taxpayer, was thought to be enough to get the economy, out of a recession, out of the Great Recession. It didn't do much, but I got my $300. I was excited. I still hated Bush and the Republicans, still do. But I got $300. I loved it. I'd love to have $300 right now. I mean, I'd love the $1,700 along with my $2,000 Doge check. Haven't seen that show up, but I haven't checked the mail yet today. It's a little early. Maybe it'll be today. Either way, that's it for today, folks. If you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe. We have a ton of amazing content coming up throughout the rest of the day, so please do stick around for that. Otherwise, I will see y'all tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central. They've moved where the in stream button is. So if you're wondering why I just kind of look like an idiot there for a second, it's because I'm looking for the button and it's gone. It's now up in the corner instead of down in the middle. So, hey, we screw up sometimes. It's all right. I'll see you tomorrow.